They say you should never trust a man in a costume, but I should have been watching the woman in mine. Halloween night in suburban Cleveland, and I'm standing in Richard's kitchen watching my wife Mara work the room like she's campaigning for something I'm not running for. She's poured into a black catsuit that cost more than my monthly car payment, and every guy at this party is pretending not to stare while their wives shoot daggers with their eyes. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Derek, you look like someone stole your lunch money, John says, appearing at my elbow with 2 beers. He's dressed as a pirate, which fits since he's been stealing office supplies from our restaurant chain for the past 5 years. Just enjoying the show, I tell him, nodding toward where Mara's laughing at something Dominic Cross just whispered in her ear. Dominic's wearing a Tarzan costume that shows off every muscle he's built during his obsessive gym routine. His wife Susie stands nearby in a Wonder Woman outfit, watching the interaction with the kind of smile that makes you check your back for knives. Your wife's looking good tonight, John says, then catches my expression. I mean, in a completely respectful married guy way. Yeah, she's looking real good for someone. I take a long pull of beer. Question is, who's she looking good for? The party's in full swing around us. Richard and Nikki's house is packed with the usual suspects from our neighborhood and the restaurant district where I work as a manager. Everyone's trying too hard to prove they're still young, still fun, still worth something in their late 30s. I watch Mara lean closer to Dominic, her hand touching his arm as she laughs. They're standing by the punch bowl, and from here it looks like they're sharing secrets. Susie's moved away to talk to some other wives, leaving her husband and my wife in their own little bubble. You know what Superman's real superpower is? Richard appears, slightly drunk and ready to start one of his famous party debates. He's dressed as Batman, which is ironic since he couldn't fight his way out of a paper bag. What's that? I ask, still watching Mara. He can see through walls, but he chooses not to look at Lois Lane in the shower. That's real power, having the ability to know everything and choosing not to use it. Maybe Superman's just stupid, John says. I mean, if you can see through walls and you don't use that power, what's wrong with you? It's called having morals, Richard argues. It's called being an idiot, I mutter, and both guys look at me funny. Across the room, Mara's moved even closer to Dominic. Now they're standing hip to hip, looking at something on his phone. Her free hand rests on his chest, right over those ridiculous fake muscles the Tarzan costume emphasizes. I need another drink, I announce. You just got that one, John points out. Then I need a stronger drink. I push through the crowd toward the kitchen, passing groups of neighbors gossiping about whose marriage is falling apart, whose kids are in trouble, whose husband lost his job. The usual small-town drama that keeps everyone entertained between football seasons. In the kitchen, I find Nikki refilling snack bowls. She's dressed as a witch, complete with a pointed hat that keeps getting caught in the cabinet doors. Having fun, Derek? She asks, but there's something in her voice that suggests she knows I'm not. Oh, you know me. I'm always the life of the party. Uh-huh. She gives me a look that says she's noticed the same things I have. Want some advice? Do I have a choice? Some women need attention, like plants need water. The question is whether they're getting it from their own garden or wandering into someone else's. Before I can respond, Mara appears in the doorway. There you are. I've been looking everywhere for you. Have you? I ask. Because from where I was standing, you seemed pretty occupied. Her smile falters for just a second. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Just making an observation. Nikki takes her snack bowls and disappears, leaving us alone. Mara steps closer and I can smell her perfume, the expensive stuff she only wears for special occasions, or special people. You're acting weird tonight, she says. Weird how? I don't know. Distant, like you're watching me or something. Should I not watch my wife at a party? That's not what I meant. She reaches up to adjust my collar, a gesture that used to feel intimate, but now feels like she's straightening a tie on a mannequin. I just want us to have fun tonight. When's the last time we went out together? When's the last time you wanted to? The question hangs between us like smoke. Mara's hand drops from my collar. What's that supposed to mean? It means exactly what it sounds like, Mara. When's the last time you suggested we do something together? When's the last time you seemed happy to be in the same room with me when there wasn't a crowd around? You're being ridiculous. Am I? Because from where I'm standing, it seems like you're more interested in playing dress-up with Tarzan than spending time with your actual husband. Her face flushes, and for a moment I think she's going to deny it. Then her expression hardens. You know what, Derek? Maybe if you put half as much effort into being interesting as you do into being suspicious, we wouldn't have this problem. What problem? I thought we were just having fun tonight. We are. I am. You're the one standing in corners making sarcastic comments and watching everyone like you're keeping score. Maybe because I am keeping score, and maybe because I don't like what I'm seeing. Mara stares at me for a long moment, and I can see her calculating something behind her eyes. Finally, she shakes her head. I'm not doing this here. If you want to ruin your own night, fine, but don't ruin mine. She turns and walks away, leaving me alone in the kitchen with the lingering scent of her perfume and the bitter taste of a conversation that just confirmed everything I'd been trying not to think about. I grab another beer from Richard's fridge and head back to the party. The living room is packed now, everyone dancing to music that was popular when we were all 10 years younger. I find a spot by the wall where I can watch without being obvious about it. Mara's back with Dominic, and now Susie's joined them. The three of them are laughing about something, heads close together like conspirators. Every few seconds, one of them glances around the room, checking to see who's watching. You look like you're planning someone's funeral, John says, appearing beside me again. Maybe I am. Whose? Haven't decided yet. John follows my gaze to where Mara, Dominic, and Susie are standing. Oh, that. Yeah, that. You know, there's probably a perfectly innocent explanation for whatever you think you're seeing. Name one. John opens his mouth, then closes it. Okay, maybe not perfectly innocent, but maybe not what you think either. What I think is that my wife is flirting with another woman's husband while that woman encourages it, and all three of them are having a great time pretending I'm too stupid to notice. So what are you going to do about it? I take a long drink of beer and watch Dominic's hand settle on the small of Mara's back, right where her costume dips lowest. I'm going to see how far they want to take this game. Derek. Don't worry, John. I'm not going to make a scene. Not tonight. Then when? I smile, and something in my expression makes John take a step back. When I'm ready to win. The party continues around us, but I'm no longer really part of it. I'm watching, learning, taking mental notes. Mara and Dominic dance twice, their bodies pressed together in ways that would make a priest blush. Susie runs interference, distracting anyone who seems to notice, making jokes about how cute they look together. Around midnight, people start leaving. I help Richard clean up while Mara says goodbye to everyone, hugging Dominic just a little too long, whispering something in his ear that makes him grin. Thanks for coming, Richard says as we're putting on our coats. Sorry if the party was a little intense. Intense how? He glances at Mara, who's still talking to Susie by the door. Just some interesting dynamics tonight. People forget that small towns have long memories. What's that supposed to mean? It means be careful, Derek. Whatever's happening, whatever you think is happening, just be careful. Some games don't have winners. In the car, Mara's quiet. She stares out the passenger window while I drive, her hands folded in her lap like she's praying or planning. Good party, I say finally. You seem to enjoy yourself. It was fine. Dominic seemed to enjoy himself too. She turns to look at me, and in the glow of the streetlights I can see something calculating in her expression. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Just making conversation. No, you're not. You're doing that thing you do where you say something that sounds innocent but isn't. What thing? That passive-aggressive thing where you make accusations without actually making them. I pull into our driveway and turn off the engine. In the sudden silence, I can hear both of us breathing. Mara, if you ever decide to leave me, I'll send flowers to the new guy. Congratulate him on his good taste. She stares at me, and for the first time all night she looks genuinely surprised. What? You heard me. I'll send flowers and a nice card. Maybe something like, thanks for taking her off my hands, or good luck, you'll need it. Derek, what the hell are you talking about? I get out of the car without answering. By the time she follows me into the house, I'm already heading upstairs. Derek! I'm tired, Mara. It's been a long night. We need to talk about this. Talk about what? I thought we were just having fun tonight. I close the bedroom door behind me and start getting undressed. Through the door, I can hear her pacing in the hallway, her heels clicking on the hardwood floor. After a few minutes, the clicking stops. I wait, listening. Then I hear her phone buzz with a text message. Then another. Then another. I was done playing the fool. Time to see who the real clown was. The next morning, Mara's gone before I wake up. There's a note on the kitchen counter saying she had to go in early for a meeting, but her coffee cup is still warm, and there are 2 phones charging on the counter. Her work phone, and what I thought was her only personal phone. I've never been the snooping type. In 15 years of marriage, I've never gone through Mara's purse, never checked her email, never even looked at her phone when it buzzed with messages. But standing there in my kitchen, looking at that second phone, I realize that maybe my trust has been less about respect and more about willful blindness. The phone isn't locked. The first thing I see is a text thread with a contact listed as D Work. Last night was perfect. Can't wait for next time. You looked incredible. That costume should be illegal. Tell me you felt what I felt when we were dancing. I scroll up. The messages go back 3 weeks. 3 weeks of planning, flirting, and building up to something that apparently happened last night while I was standing 10 feet away drinking beer and pretending everything was normal. There are photos. Nothing explicit, but Mara in lingerie I've never seen, posing in what looks like a hotel room. The timestamps show they were taken last Tuesday afternoon when she told me she was having lunch with Susie. My hands are shaking as I scroll through more messages. Plans to meet, discussions about when I'd be working late, jokes about how clueless I am, how easy it is to fool me. Derek's working until 9 tonight. We could have 3 hours. Perfect. I'll tell Susie I'm shopping. Does she know? She knows enough. She thinks it's funny. What about Derek? What about him? He sees what he wants to see. I set the phone down before I throw it against the wall. My wife of 15 years has been cheating on me with Dominic Cross, planning it with his wife's help, and all 3 of them think I'm too stupid to figure it out. The smart thing would be to confront her. The mature thing would be to suggest counseling. The legal thing would be to call a divorce attorney and start protecting my assets. But standing in my kitchen, looking at evidence of how little my wife thinks of me, I don't feel smart or mature or legal. I feel like the ex-amateur boxer I used to be, the guy who solved problems with his fists before he learned to solve them with words. Except, this isn't a problem you can solve by hitting someone. This is a problem that requires a different kind of fighting. I take photos of the most damaging text messages, then put the phone back exactly where I found it. Then I call in sick to work and spend the day planning. By the time Mara gets home, I've made 3 phone calls, done 2 hours of research, and set the first part of my plan in motion. How was your day? She asks, kissing my cheek like nothing's changed. Quiet. How was your meeting? Long. Boring. The usual. She moves around the kitchen, making dinner, chatting about her day. She's a good liar, I'll give her that. If I didn't know better, I'd believe every word. Oh, Susie called, she says casually. She wants to have dinner this weekend, the four of us. The four of us? You, me, her, and Dominic. Like a double date. How romantic. If she catches the sarcasm in my voice, she doesn't show it. I thought it would be fun. We never do couple things anymore. No, we don't. I watch her face carefully. Any particular reason Susie suggested it now? She just thought it would be nice. You know how she is about bringing people together. Yeah, I'm learning a lot about how Susie brings people together. This time, she does look at me, a quick, sharp glance that tells me she's wondering how much I know. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, just that she seems to have strong opinions about other people's relationships. Derek, if you have something to say, just say it. I don't have anything to say, Mara. I'm just making conversation. She stares at me for a long moment, then turns back to the stove. Sometimes I don't understand you at all. The feeling's mutual. That night, I lie awake listening to Mara breathe beside me. Around midnight, her phone buzzes with a text, then another. She doesn't check them, but I can see the glow of the screen under her pillow. The next day, I put the first part of my plan into action. Dominic works at the Ford plant on the east side of town. He's been there for 12 years, ever since he dropped out of college to marry Susie. He's proud of his work, proud of his union membership, proud of the fact that he can bench press twice his body weight. He's less proud of the fact that everyone at the plant now knows he's been bragging about his affair. I don't go to the plant myself. Instead, I call my cousin Mike, who works in the same department as Dominic. I tell Mike that I heard Dominic talking at the party about how easy it is to seduce married women, how he's got some manager's wife wrapped around his finger. Guy was drunk, I tell Mike. Probably just talking trash, but he mentioned names, and I thought you should know in case it gets back to management. You know how they are about workplace drama. Mike promises to keep an ear out. By lunch, half the plant floor has heard that Dominic Cross is running his mouth about sleeping with someone's wife. By quitting time, the story has grown into Dominic bragging about breaking up marriages and laughing about cuckolded husbands. Dominic comes home to find his wife furious and his neighbors whispering. He has no idea where the rumors started, but he knows they're spreading fast. Phase 2 happens that weekend. Dominic drives a restored 1987 Camaro that he spent 3 years and $15,000 rebuilding. It's his pride and joy, his baby, the thing he talks about more than his actual wife. Saturday morning, while he's at the gym and Susie's at her book club, I pay a visit to his driveway. I don't slash his tires or key his paint. I'm more creative than that. I carefully remove the valve stems from all 4 tires, letting the air out slowly so the tires settle evenly. Then I place a small sticker on his windshield, one of those joke stickers that says, "Tarzan was here," with a cartoon ape. But the real message is tucked under his windshield wiper. A note written in block letters that says, "Real men don't need loincloths." When Dominic finds his car, he knows exactly who did it. But he can't prove anything, and calling the police would mean explaining why someone might want to send him a message about loincloths and Tarzan costumes. Instead, he calls me. "You son of a bitch," he says when I answer the phone. "I'm sorry, who is this?" "You know damn well who this is. What you did to my car." "I don't know what you're talking about, Dominic. Is there a problem with your car?" "Don't play dumb with me, Derek. I know it was you." "Know what was me?" I'm confused. "Are you saying someone did something to your car?" "You know what you did." "I'm afraid I don't. But if someone vandalized your property, you should probably call the police. They can dust for fingerprints, check for witnesses, that sort of thing." There's a long pause. We both know he's not calling the police. "This isn't over," he says finally. "What isn't over? I'm still not sure what we're talking about." He hangs up. An hour later, he shows up at my house. I'm in my garage, working on my own car, when his shadow falls across the doorway. He's changed out of his gym clothes into jeans and a tight t-shirt that shows off his muscles. He's trying to look intimidating. "We need to talk," he says. I don't look up from the engine I'm working on. "About what?" "You know what." "Dominic, you keep saying that, but I honestly don't know what you're talking about. Are you feeling okay? You seem confused." He steps into the garage close enough that I can smell his cologne, the same expensive stuff he was wearing at the party. "Stay away from my car, stay away from my wife, and stay away from me." Now I do look up. I'm holding a wrench, and something in my posture makes him take a step back. "Are you threatening me, Dominic? I'm warning you." "Warning me about what? To stay away from your wife?" I laugh. "Trust me, that's not going to be a problem. Susie's never been my type." "You know what I mean." I stand up, still holding the wrench. I'm 3 inches taller than Dominic and 20 pounds heavier. More importantly, I spent 4 years boxing in the army, and muscle memory doesn't fade. "No, I don't know what you mean. But let me be clear about something, Dominic. If you ever come to my house again making vague threats, we're going to have a very different conversation. The kind of conversation that ends with one of us needing medical attention." He tries to hold my gaze, but he's not used to being challenged. At the gym, he's the alpha. At work, he's got seniority. In my garage, he's just another guy who's bitten off more than he can chew. "This isn't over," he says again, but his voice lacks conviction. "Yeah, you mentioned that on the phone. But here's the thing, Dominic. I don't know what game you think we're playing, but you might want to make sure you understand the rules before you make any more moves." He backs toward the door, trying to look casual about his retreat. "Touch my car again and what? You'll call the police? File a report? Tell them someone left you a note about Tarzan costumes?" I smile. I'm sure that'll go over real well at the plant. "Help, officer. Someone made fun of my Halloween costume." His face flushes red. "You think you're smart?" "I think I'm smart enough. The question is, are you?" He leaves without another word. I watch him walk to his car, which is still sitting on 4 flat tires, and call someone to come pick him up. That night, Mara's unusually quiet during dinner. She keeps checking her phone, frowning at messages she won't let me see. "Everything okay?" I ask. "Fine, just work stuff." "Must be important work stuff. You've checked your phone 6 times since we sat down." "It's nothing." But it's not nothing. It's Dominic, telling her about our confrontation, trying to figure out how much I know and what I'm planning to do about it. What they don't understand yet is that I'm not planning to do anything about it. I'm planning to do everything about it. After dinner, while Mara's in the shower, I check her secret phone again. The messages between her and Dominic have taken on a panicked tone. He knows something. How much? I don't know, but he's not acting normal. What do we do? Nothing. Just be careful. What about Susie? What about her? Does she know he knows? I'll talk to her tomorrow. I put the phone back and listen to the water running in the bathroom. Mara's humming something, a tune I don't recognize. She sounds happy, relaxed, like a woman without a care in the world. She has no idea that her world is about to come crashing down around her, but she's about to learn. The beauty of a small town is that everyone knows everyone else's business. The curse of a small town is that everyone knows everyone else's business. I'm about to turn that curse into Dominic's worst nightmare. It starts at Murphy's bar on Wednesday night. Murphy's is where the factory workers go to drink away their shift differential and complain about management. It's also where they go to gossip, and nothing spreads faster through Murphy's than a good scandal. I arrive at 7, nursing a beer and watching SportsCenter like I don't have a care in the world. Dominic shows up at 7:30 with 2 of his work buddies, talking loud about overtime and union negotiations. At 8 o'clock, my cousin Mike walks in with 3 more guys from the plant. They grab a table near Dominic's group, close enough for conversation to drift between tables. "Derek," Mike calls out when he sees me. "What brings you to this dive?" "Needed to get out of the house. I tell him, loud enough for Dominic to hear. Wife's having one of her book club meetings. You know how women get when they're gossiping about their neighbors. Tell me about it, says one of Mike's friends. My wife comes home from those things with enough dirt to bury half the neighborhood. Speaking of dirt, Mike says, lowering his voice, but not enough. You hear about Cross over there? Apparently he's been running his mouth about some affair he's having. Dominic's head snaps up. What did you say? Nothing, man. Just bar talk. No. What did you say about me? Mike looks genuinely confused, which makes it perfect. Just that some people heard you talking about, some married woman. I never said anything about any married woman. Hey, I'm just telling you what I heard. Maybe someone got their wires crossed. But now everyone at both tables is listening. In a bar full of married men, the topic of affairs is like throwing chum to sharks. What kind of married woman? Asks one of Dominic's buddies. I don't know, Mike says. Someone said he was bragging about how easy it was to seduce someone's wife, how the husband was too stupid to figure it out. I never said that. Dominic's voice is getting loud enough to carry across the bar. Maybe it was someone else, I suggest helpfully. Maybe someone just got confused because of that Tarzan costume you wore to the party. You know how people talk. The mention of the costume gets a few chuckles from the other tables. Someone makes a Tarzan yell, and suddenly half the bar is looking at Dominic. This is bullshit, Dominic says, standing up. Sit down, Dom, one of his friends says. It's just bar talk. No, it's not just bar talk. Someone's spreading lies about me. What kind of lies? Mike asks innocently. And that's when Dominic makes his first mistake. Instead of walking away, instead of letting it drop, he decides to defend himself. I'm not having an affair with anyone's wife, he announces to the bar. I don't know where that rumor started, but it's complete bullshit. The problem with denying a rumor that half the people haven't heard yet is that now they're all very interested in hearing it. What rumor? Asks someone from the pool table area. Someone said Dom's been cheating on Susie, Mike explains. I'm not cheating on Susie. Then why are you so upset about it? Asks a voice from the back of the bar. Dominic looks around the room and realizes he's just made everything worse. Every face is turned toward him, waiting for an explanation he can't give without making things even more complicated. I'm upset because people are lying about me, he says finally. What people? I ask. Mike just said he heard something. He didn't say who told him. Well, someone told him something, and it's not true. Okay, I say reasonably. So what is true? Dominic stares at me, and I can see him trying to figure out how much I know, how much I'm guessing, and how much I'm just stirring the pot for fun. The truth is, I'm happily married and I don't mess around with other people's wives. Good for you, says someone from the dartboard. Wish everyone could say that. What's that supposed to mean? Dominic asks. Nothing, man. Just that there's a lot of cheating going around these days. Seems like every week someone's getting divorced because somebody couldn't keep it in their pants. The conversation starts to drift toward general complaints about marriage and fidelity, but the damage is done. Dominic Cross has just announced to a bar full of gossips that he's definitely not having an affair, which means everyone will spend the next week trying to figure out who he's definitely not having an affair with. I finish my beer and head home, leaving Dominic to deal with the questions and suspicious looks that will follow him for the next several days. At home, Mara's waiting up for me. How was your night out? She asks. Interesting. Ran into Dominic at Murphy's. Her face tightens almost imperceptibly. Oh, how's he doing? He seemed stressed. Something about rumors going around about him. What kind of rumors? The usual small-town gossip. You know how people talk. She nods, but I can see her calculating behind her eyes. What kind of gossip specifically? Something about him and some married woman. He seemed pretty upset about it. I'm sure it's nothing, she says quickly. People make up stories about anyone who's good-looking and friendly. Yeah, that's probably it. although he did seem to know more about the rumors than you'd expect if they were completely made up. What do you mean? I mean, he was pretty specific about what he wasn't doing and who he wasn't doing it with, like he'd heard the rumors before. Mara's phone buzzes. She glances at it, then at me. I should get ready for bed, she says. Good idea. Big day tomorrow? Just the usual. You? Oh, I've got some interesting plans. The next morning, while Mara's at work, I implement phase 3 of my plan. This one requires a little help from Susie herself. I call Susie's work number at the insurance office where she's a claims adjuster. Susie, it's Derek. I hope you don't mind me calling you at work. Derek, is everything okay? Well, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. I'm hoping you can help me with something. What kind of something? It's about Mara. I'm worried about her. There's a pause. Worried how? She's been acting strange lately. Secretive. Going out at odd hours. Getting texts she won't let me see. I'm starting to wonder if she's having some kind of problem. What kind of problem? I don't know. Maybe depression. Maybe she's unhappy with our marriage. I thought since you two are so close, maybe she's talked to you about it. Another pause. Longer this time. Derek, I don't think I should get in the middle of whatever's going on between you and Mara. I'm not asking you to get in the middle. I'm just asking if she's said anything to you about being unhappy, or about wanting to change something in her life. She hasn't said anything specific. But she's said something? Derek, Susie, please, I'm really worried about her. If there's something going on, something I should know about, I'd rather hear it from a friend than find out some other way. I can hear her breathing, thinking. Finally. Maybe you should talk to Mara directly. I've tried. She just shuts down. You know how she gets when she doesn't want to discuss something. Yeah, I know. The thing is, I heard some rumors at Murphy's last night about Dominic. Silence. Someone said he was bragging about having an affair with a married woman. More silence. I know it's probably nothing, but with Mara acting strange and you and Dominic being our friends, I just wanted to make sure there wasn't some connection I was missing. Derek, I think you're overthinking this. Maybe. But Susie, if something is going on, if Mara is involved in something that could hurt our marriage, I need to know. And if Dominic is involved in something that could hurt your marriage, don't you think you should know too? When she speaks again, her voice is different. Colder. What exactly are you asking me? I'm asking if you know anything about your husband and my wife spending time together when we're not around. That's a serious accusation. It's not an accusation, it's a question. The answer is no. I don't know anything about Dominic and Mara spending time together inappropriately. But the way she says it tells me everything I need to know. She's not denying that it's happening. She's just denying that she knows about it. Okay, I say. I'm sorry for bothering you at work. I'm probably just being paranoid. Probably. But Susie, if you do hear anything, or if Mara says anything to you about being unhappy, will you let me know? I'd rather try to fix whatever's wrong than lose my marriage over something that could have been prevented. Of course. I hang up and wait. It takes exactly 47 minutes for Mara's secret phone to start buzzing with panicked messages from both Susie and Dominic. Derek called me at work. What did he say? He knows something. He asked about you and Mara. What did you tell him? Nothing, but he's suspicious. How suspicious? Very. He mentioned the rumors from the bar. Shit, what do we do? We need to be more careful. Or we need to stop. We're not stopping. We just need to be smarter. What about Derek? What about him? He's not as stupid as we thought. Reading those messages, I almost feel sorry for them. They still think this is about being careful, about being smarter. They still think they're in control of the situation. They have no idea that I've been 3 steps ahead of them since the morning I found that phone. That afternoon, I get a call from Richard. Derek, we need to talk. About what? About whatever you're doing with Dominic Cross. I'm not doing anything with Dominic Cross. Derek, I've known you for 8 years. I know when you're up to something. What makes you think I'm up to something? Because half the neighborhood is talking about rumors involving Dominic and some married woman, and the other half is talking about how his car got vandalized, and somehow your name keeps coming up in both conversations. I sigh. Richard, can I ask you something? Sure. At the party the other night, did you notice anything unusual about Mara and Dominic? Silence. Richard? Derek, maybe we should have this conversation in person. Just answer the question. Did you notice anything? Yeah, I noticed. And you didn't think to mention it to me? What was I supposed to say? Hey, Derek, your wife was flirting with another guy at my party. How does that conversation go? Better than the conversation we're having now. Look, I don't know what's going on between you and Mara, and I don't know what you're planning to do about Dominic. But whatever it is, maybe you should think about whether it's worth it. Whether what's worth it? Revenge. Because that's what this is about, isn't it? I don't answer. Derek, I get it. I really do. But be careful. Sometimes when you set out to destroy someone else, you end up destroying yourself. Thanks for the advice, Richard. I'm serious. Whatever you're planning, just be smart about it. Don't worry. I'm being very smart about it. That night, Mara comes home late from what she claims was a work dinner. She's wearing a new dress I've never seen, and she smells like cologne that isn't mine. How was dinner? I ask. Fine. Boring client meeting. Must have been some client. You look dressed up. I always dress professionally for client meetings. Of course you do. She heads upstairs to change, and I check her secret phone one more time. The messages from earlier have been deleted, but there's a new thread with just one exchange. Tonight was perfect. I know. I wish we didn't have to sneak around. Soon we won't have to. What do you mean? I mean, I'm getting tired of pretending, aren't you? I put the phone back and go upstairs. Mara's in the shower, humming that same tune I don't recognize. Tomorrow, I'm going to give her something new to hum about. Friday morning, I call my bank and transfer half of our joint savings into a new account in my name only. It's perfectly legal. The money was earned during our marriage, and I'm entitled to protect my assets if I suspect my spouse is planning to leave. Then I call my credit card companies and remove Mara as an authorized user on all my accounts. Again, perfectly legal, and something any financial advisor would recommend during a marital separation. By the time Mara gets to work, her cards are declined when she tries to buy coffee. By lunch, she's figured out what happened. Derek, what the hell did you do? She says when she calls me. I'm not sure what you mean. My credit cards aren't working. That's strange. Have you been making any unusual purchases lately? Don't play games with me. Why can't I access our accounts? Our accounts are fine. I just moved some money around for tax purposes. What tax purposes? Mara, are you planning to leave me? The question catches her off guard. What? No. Why would you ask that? Because you've been acting like someone who's planning to leave. Secretive, distant, making plans you don't tell me about. I figured if you were planning to leave, I should probably protect our assets until we can work out the details. I'm not planning to leave you. Good. Then you won't mind if I keep things separate for a while, just until we can figure out what's going on with us. Derek, this is crazy. What's crazy is having a wife who comes home smelling like another man's cologne and expects me not to notice. Silence. I don't know what you think you know, she says finally, but you're wrong. Am I? Then prove it. How? Come home tonight. We'll order pizza, watch a movie, talk about what's been going wrong between us, like married people do. I can't tonight. I have plans. What kind of plans? Work plans. Cancel them. I can't. Then I guess we know where your priorities are. I hang up and wait for the next phase of my plan to unfold. That evening, while Mara is at her work meeting, which I know is actually a rendezvous with Dominic at the Marriott on Route 9, I'm installing a new security system at our house. The system is top of the line. Motion sensors, cameras, and a feature that lets me monitor everything remotely through an app on my phone. I tell the installer it's because we've had some break-in attempts in the neighborhood. Smart thinking, he says. You'd be amazed how many people wait until after they've been robbed to install security. I've always believed in being proactive. The system is connected to the Neighborhood Watch app that half our neighbors use to report suspicious activity. Anything the cameras record can be automatically shared with the app if I choose to make it public. I'm just finishing the setup when Mara gets home at 11:30. "What's all this?" she asks, looking at the cameras. "Security system. I figured it was time we took some precautions." Precautions against what? Break-ins, vandalism, people who might want to cause trouble for our family. She studies the cameras with an expression I can't quite read. Seems like overkill. Better safe than sorry. How much did this cost? Don't worry about it. I paid for it out of my personal account. Your personal account? Mara, until we figure out what's going on with us, I think it's better if we keep our finances separate. That way there's no confusion about who's responsible for what. Derek, you're scaring me. This isn't like you. Maybe the old me was too trusting. Maybe the old me didn't pay enough attention to what was happening in his own house. Nothing is happening in our house. Good. Then the cameras will just show normal, boring domestic life. That weekend, I put the final pieces of my trap in place. I start by having a conversation with our neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, who lives across the street and has made a career out of monitoring everyone else's business. "Mrs. Patterson, I hope you don't mind me asking, but have you noticed anyone coming to our house when I'm not home?" "What kind of anyone?" "I don't know. Delivery people, repairmen, that sort of thing. Mara mentioned that someone's been leaving packages, but I haven't seen any. Now that you mention it, I have seen a car in your driveway a few times during the day. A red Camaro." "A red Camaro?" "Yes. I assumed it was a friend of Mara's." "Did you see who was driving it?" "A man. Young, muscular. He usually stayed for an hour or two." "How many times have you seen this?" 3 or 4 times over the past few weeks, always when you weren't home." "Interesting. Mara didn't mention having any male friends over." Mrs. Patterson gives me a look that says she's thinking the same thing I am. "Derek, I don't like to get involved in other people's business. But if my husband was working late and strange men were visiting during the day, I'd want to know about it." "So would I, Mrs. Patterson. So would I." Sunday evening, I have dinner with John and his wife Carol at their house. During dessert, I bring up the subject of marriage and trust. "Carol, can I ask you something? If you suspected John was cheating on you, what would you do?" Carol nearly chokes on her coffee. "That's a hell of a question, Derek. I'm just curious. Hypothetically. Hypothetically, I'd want proof before I did anything drastic." "What kind of proof?" "Pictures, messages, witnesses, something concrete." "And then what?" "Then I'd decide whether I wanted to try to save the marriage or end it." "What if you wanted to make sure he understood how much he'd hurt you first?" John and Carol exchange looks. "Derek," John says carefully, "are we still talking hypothetically?" "Of course. Because if we're not, if this is about you and Mara, maybe you should think about talking to a counselor instead of planning some kind of revenge." "Who said anything about revenge?" "You did, just now. I said, making sure someone understood how much they'd hurt you. That's not revenge. That's communication." "Derek," Carol says gently, "whatever's going on, whatever you think is going on, just be careful. Revenge has a way of hurting everyone involved. Even the people who deserve it. Especially the people who deserve it." Monday morning, I call in sick to work again. I spend the day at the coffee shop across from Mara's office building, watching who comes and goes. At 12:30, Dominic's red Camaro pulls into the parking lot. He gets out wearing a suit I've never seen him in, looking nervous and excited. At 12:35, Mara comes out of the building. She's changed clothes since morning. Gone is the conservative business outfit, replaced by a tight dress and heels that add 3 inches to her height. They don't kiss or hold hands in the parking lot, but the way they look at each other tells me everything I need to know. This isn't just physical attraction. They think they're in love. They drive away in separate cars, but I know where they're going. The same place they've been going for the past month, the Marriott on Route 9, room 237, registered under the name Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I know because I called the hotel yesterday and asked if my friends the Smiths were still planning to keep their regular Monday reservation. The desk clerk confirmed that yes, Mr. Smith had just called to confirm the room for this afternoon. Instead of following them to the hotel, I go home and wait. At 4:30, right on schedule, Dominic's Camaro pulls into my driveway. He gets out looking relaxed and satisfied, like a man who's just had the best afternoon of his life. He walks up to my front door and knocks. I answer wearing work clothes like I've just gotten home. "Dominic? What are you doing here?" "I was hoping we could talk." "About what?" "About the misunderstanding we had the other day." "What misunderstanding?" "The thing with my car, the rumors at the bar, all of it." I step aside and let him in. "Sure, we can talk." He follows me into the living room where he sits on my couch and looks around like he's cataloging everything he sees. "Derek, I think we got off on the wrong foot." "Did we?" "Yeah, I think there's been some miscommunication and I'd like to clear the air." "What kind of miscommunication?" "Well, for starters, I never said anything about having an affair. I don't know where those rumors came from, but they didn't come from me." "Okay." "And the thing with my car, I'm not saying you did it, but if you did, I understand why you might have been upset about something." "What would I be upset about?" "I don't know. Maybe you misinterpreted something you saw at the party." "Like what?" "Like me talking to Mara. We were just being friendly, but I know how it might have looked to someone who didn't know the context." "What context?" Dominic shifts on the couch, and I realize he's trying to figure out how much I know without giving away how much he knows. "The context is that Mara and Susie have been planning a surprise for you, for your birthday next month." "It's a good lie. My birthday is next month, and it would explain why Mara's been secretive." "What kind of surprise?" "I can't tell you that. It would ruin the surprise." "But it involves you?" "It involves all of us. Me, Susie, Mara, some other people from the neighborhood. It's going to be a big party." "And that's why you've been meeting with Mara during the day?" His face goes pale. "What?" "Mrs. Patterson mentioned she's seen your car in my driveway a few times when I wasn't home. I assumed it was about this surprise party." "Oh. Yeah. That's exactly what it was." "And the hotel reservations?" "What hotel reservations?" "The ones at the Marriott, under the name Mr. and Mrs. Smith." Dominic stares at me, and I can see him trying to decide whether to keep lying or cut his losses. "Derek, I think there's been a misunderstanding." "I think you're right. The misunderstanding is that you thought I was stupid." "That's not. The misunderstanding is that you thought you could sleep with my wife in a hotel room 3 times a week, and I wouldn't figure it out." "Derek, the misunderstanding is that you thought you could sit on my couch and lie to my face about planning a surprise party when you just finished screwing my wife 2 hours ago." Dominic stands up. "I think I should go." "Yeah, you should, but first, let me make something clear." I stand up too, and suddenly the room feels smaller. "If you ever come to my house again, if you ever call my wife again, if you ever so much as look at her again, I will make what happened to your car seem like a love letter." "Are you threatening me?" "I'm making you a promise. Stay away from my family, or I'll show this whole town exactly what kind of man you really are." "You can't prove anything." I smile and pull out my phone. "Dominic, you just admitted to having an affair with my wife. I've been recording this conversation." His face goes white. You can't do that. Actually, I can. This is my house, and Ohio is a one-party consent state. I can record any conversation I'm part of. You son of a bitch. Get out of my house. He heads for the door, then turns back. This isn't over. Yeah, you keep saying that. But you're wrong. It is over. The affair is over, the lies are over, and your free ride is over. The only question now is how much you want to lose before you accept that. After he leaves, I upload the recording to my computer and make several backup copies. Then I sit down to wait for Mara to come home. She arrives at 6:30, looking flustered and worried. Derek, are you home? In the living room. She comes in and sits in the chair across from me, the same chair where Dominic was sitting 2 hours ago. We need to talk, she says. Yes, we do. Dominic called me. He said you two had some kind of confrontation. We had a conversation. He said you accused him of having an affair. I didn't accuse him of anything. I stated a fact. Derek, I don't know what you think you know, but I know you've been meeting Dominic at the Marriott Hotel 3 times a week for the past month. I know you've been planning to leave me. I know Susie's been helping you, and I know all 3 of you think I'm too stupid to figure it out. Mara stares at me, and for the first time since this whole thing started, she looks genuinely afraid. What are you going to do? She asks quietly. That depends on what you're going to do. What do you mean? I mean you have a choice, Mara. You can end this thing with Dominic, we can try counseling, and maybe we can save our marriage. Or you can keep lying to me, and I can show everyone in this town exactly what kind of woman I married. You're blackmailing me. I'm giving you options. She stands up and starts pacing. Derek, you don't understand. It's not just about sex. Dominic and I, we have something special. Something special? Yes. We connect in ways that you and I never have. You connect? Emotionally, intellectually, physically. He understands me in ways you never have. I laugh, and the sound makes her stop pacing. Mara, do you want to know what Dominic told me about your special connection? What? He told me it was all about planning a surprise party for my birthday. Her face crumbles. He what? When I confronted him about the affair, he tried to convince me that all those secret meetings were about planning a surprise party. That's how much your special emotional and intellectual connection means to him. She sits down hard, like someone just knocked the wind out of her. He threw you under the bus the second things got complicated, I continue. And you know what the funny part is? He's probably at home right now telling Susie the same story, that it was all your idea, that you seduced him, that he was just trying to be nice. That's not true, isn't it? Call him. Ask him what he told Susie about our conversation today. She reaches for her phone, then stops. Derek, what do you want? I want you to understand something, Mara. You chose this. You chose to lie to me, to cheat on me, to plan your exit strategy with another woman's husband. You chose to make me look like a fool in front of our friends and neighbors. I never meant for it to happen. But it did happen. And now you get to live with the consequences. What consequences? I stand up and walk to the window. Across the street, Mrs. Patterson is watering her flowers, but I can see her watching our house. The consequences are that everyone's going to know what you did. Everyone's going to know that Derek Lane's wife couldn't keep her legs closed for her best friend's husband. Derek, please. The consequences are that you're going to lose your job when HR finds out about your affair. You're going to lose your friends when they find out you've been lying to them. And you're going to lose your marriage when I file for divorce and use all this evidence to make sure you don't get a dime. You can't do that. I can do exactly that, and I will, unless you do exactly what I tell you to do. She looks up at me with tears in her eyes. What do you want me to do? I want you to call Dominic right now and tell him it's over. I want you to call Susie and tell her what you've been doing behind her back. And I want you to pack a bag and get out of my house. Derek, please, we can work this out. No, Mara, we can't. You made sure of that when you decided that Dominic Cross was worth more than 15 years of marriage. I made a mistake. You made a choice. Now I'm making mine. She starts crying, but I don't feel sorry for her. I feel nothing at all. You have 1 hour to pack whatever you can carry, I tell her. After that, the locks get changed and the security system gets activated. If you try to come back without my permission, you'll be arrested for trespassing. Where am I supposed to go? I don't care. Go to Susie's house. Go to Dominic's house. Go to a hotel. Just go. She stands up and starts toward the stairs, then turns back. Derek, I know you're angry, but this doesn't have to be the end of everything. You're right. It doesn't have to be the end of everything, but it's going to be the end of everything for you. An hour later, I watch from the window as Mara loads 2 suitcases into her car. She looks back at the house once, like she's hoping I'll come outside and stop her. I don't. After she drives away, I call a locksmith and have all the locks changed. Then I activate the security system and pour myself a drink. Tomorrow, I'm going to show this town what happens when you cross Derek Lane. But tonight, I'm going to enjoy the silence in my house for the first time in months. The next morning, I wake up to 17 missed calls and 43 text messages. Word travels fast in a small town, and by sunrise, everyone knows that Mara Lane packed her bags and left her husband. What they don't know yet is why. I make coffee and scroll through the messages while I plan my day. Most are from concerned neighbors and co-workers asking if I'm okay. A few are from Mara begging me to reconsider. One is from Dominic, threatening legal action if I release the recording of our conversation. That last one makes me smile. I'm in the shower when the doorbell rings. Through the bathroom window, I can see Susie Cross standing on my front porch, looking like she hasn't slept all night. I take my time getting dressed before I answer the door. Susie, this is a surprise. We need to talk. About what? About what you're doing to my husband. I'm not doing anything to your husband. Come in. She follows me into the kitchen, where I pour myself a cup of coffee and don't offer her one. Derek, I know you're upset about Mara leaving, but taking it out on Dominic isn't going to solve anything. Mara didn't leave, Susie. I threw her out. What? I threw her out because she was cheating on me with your husband. Susie's face goes through several expressions: surprise, denial, anger, and finally resignation. How long have you known? She asks quietly. Long enough. The question is, how long have you known? She sits down at my kitchen table without being invited. Derek, it's complicated. No, it's not complicated. Your husband was screwing my wife, and you knew about it. That's about as uncomplicated as it gets. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. How was it supposed to happen? I don't know. I thought it would burn itself out. I thought they'd get bored with each other and things would go back to normal. So you decided to let them keep screwing until they got tired of it? I thought it was better than breaking up 2 marriages over something that might not last. Well, congratulations. Now you get to deal with 1 broken marriage and 1 very pissed-off husband. Susie looks around my kitchen like she's seeing it for the first time. Derek, what are you planning to do? I'm planning to make sure everyone in this town knows exactly what kind of people they've been defending. What does that mean? It means your husband's reputation is about to become very interesting. Derek, please. Think about what you're doing. Dominic made a mistake, but he's not a bad person. He's a bad person who made a mistake. There's a difference. What do you want? Money? An apology? What will it take for you to let this go? I want justice, Susie. I want consequences. I want everyone who thought Derek Lane was too stupid to notice his wife cheating to understand exactly how wrong they were. And then what? After you've destroyed everyone's lives, what happens then? Then I move on with my life, and you all live with the consequences of your choices. Susie stands up. Derek, I'm begging you. Don't do this. Whatever you're planning, don't do it. Why? Because it might hurt people who deserve to be hurt? Because it might hurt people who don't deserve to be hurt. What about the kids at school whose parents will be gossiping about this? What about the neighbors who'll have to choose sides? What about the husband who trusted his wife and got betrayed? What about him, Susie? She stares at me, and I can see her realizing that I'm not going to be talked out of this. Derek, you're not the same person you were a week ago. You're right. A week ago, I was a fool. Today, I'm something else entirely. After Susie leaves, I spend the morning making phone calls and sending emails. By lunch, I've contacted Mara's HR department with evidence of her affair, filed for divorce, and scheduled a meeting with a private investigator to document everything I might have missed. At 2 o'clock, my phone rings. It's Mara. Derek, please. We need to talk. We talked yesterday. Susie told me what you're planning to do. Susie doesn't know what I'm planning to do. Derek, if you release that recording, if you go public with this, it'll destroy more than just me and Dominic. That's not my problem. It should be your problem. These are people we've known for years. People who trusted us. People who trusted me. You broke that trust when you decided to screw your best friend's husband. I know I made mistakes. You made choices, Mara. Now I'm making mine. What will it take for you to stop this? Nothing. There's nothing you can offer me that will stop this. Derek, please, I'm begging you. Save your breath. You made your bed. Now you get to lie in it. Alone. I hang up and turn off my phone. I've got work to do. That evening, I attend the monthly neighborhood watch meeting at the community center. 23 people show up, including Richard, Nikki, Mrs. Patterson, and half the families on our street. Before we start with the regular business, I say when it's my turn to speak, I want to address some rumors that have been going around about my family. The room goes quiet. Everyone knows that Mara left, but nobody knows why. Some of you have probably heard that my wife moved out yesterday. What you probably haven't heard is why. I pull out my phone and connect it to the room's speaker system. I want to play you a recording of a conversation I had yesterday with Dominic Cross. I think it'll clear up any confusion about what's been going on. Derek, Richard says, maybe this isn't the place. This is exactly the place. These are our neighbors. They have a right to know what kind of people have been living among them. I press play. Dominic's voice fills the room. The context is that Mara and Susie have been planning a surprise for you, for your birthday next month. Then my voice. And that's why you've been meeting with Mara during the day? Oh, yeah, that's exactly what it was. And the hotel reservations? What hotel reservations? The ones at the Marriott, under the name Mr. and Mrs. Smith. The room is completely silent. I can hear people breathing. Derek, I think there's been a misunderstanding. I think you're right. The misunderstanding is that you thought I was stupid. I let the recording play through Dominic's admission and my final threat. When it ends, nobody speaks for a full minute. Finally, Mrs. Patterson clears her throat. Well, that explains the red Camaro. Derek, Nikki says carefully, what are you planning to do with this information? I'm planning to make sure everyone knows the truth, about Dominic, about Mara, and about Susie's role in covering it up. What about forgiveness? Asks someone from the back of the room. What about trying to work things out? What about consequences? I respond. What about people taking responsibility for their actions? Derek, Richard says, I understand you're angry, but maybe what, Richard? Maybe I should just pretend it didn't happen. Maybe I should let them get away with it so everyone else can feel comfortable. Maybe you should think about whether destroying them is going to make you feel better. I don't care about feeling better. I care about justice. The meeting breaks up without any official business being conducted. People file out in small groups, whispering to each other and avoiding eye contact with me. Mrs. Patterson approaches me as I'm packing up my phone. Derek, I want you to know that what they did to you was wrong. Thank you. But I also want you to know that what you're doing now, it's going to change you, and not necessarily in a good way. Maybe I needed to change. Maybe. But be careful you don't change into something you can't live with. I drive home to find Dominic's Camaro in my driveway, and all three of them, Dominic, Mara, and Susie, standing on my front porch. We need to talk, Dominic says as I get out of my car. No, we don't. Derek, please, Mara says, just give us 5 minutes. You had 15 years of 5-minute conversations. You wasted them. I walk past them to my front door, but Dominic grabs my arm. You're not going to destroy my life over this. I look down at his hand on my arm, then back at his face. Take your hand off me. Or what? Or you'll find out why I used to box professionally. He lets go but doesn't back down. You think you're so smart recording our conversation, turning the neighborhood against us, but you don't have any real proof of anything. I have enough proof to end your marriage, cost you your job, and make sure everyone in this town knows exactly what kind of man you are. You son of a bitch. Dominic, Susie says, don't make this worse. Worse? How can it be worse? He's already destroyed everything. I haven't destroyed anything, I tell him. You destroyed your marriage when you decided to screw another man's wife. You destroyed your reputation when you got caught. And you destroyed any chance of walking away from this quietly when you came to my house and tried to intimidate me. Derek, Mara says, stepping between us, what do you want? What will it take for you to let this go? I want you to understand something, Mara. All three of you. You thought you were so clever, sneaking around behind my back, planning your little affair, thinking I was too stupid to figure it out. We never said you were stupid, Susie says. You didn't have to say it. You showed it every time you met in secret, every time you lied to my face, every time you laughed about how easy it was to fool me. Derek, but here's the thing you never understood about me. I'm not stupid. I'm patient. And patient men are dangerous when they finally decide to act. What does that mean? Dominic asks. It means you're about to find out what happens when you underestimate Derek Lane. I unlock my front door and step inside, leaving them standing on the porch. Derek! Mara calls after me. This isn't over! I turn back to look at all three of them, my cheating wife, her lover, and the woman who helped them betray me. You're right, I tell them. It's not over, but it's about to be. I close the door and activate my security system. Through the window, I watch them argue on my porch for 10 minutes before they finally get in their cars and drive away. Then I sit down at my computer and start typing. The email goes to everyone in my contact list: neighbors, co-workers, family members, friends. The subject line reads, "The truth about my marriage." The message is simple and factual. I explain that Mara has been having an affair with Dominic Cross for the past month, that Susie Cross has been helping them cover it up, and that all three of them have been lying to everyone who trusted them. I attach the audio recording of my conversation with Dominic, copies of the text messages from Mara's secret phone, and photos of credit card receipts from the hotel where they met. I don't editorialize. I don't call them names. I just present the facts and let people draw their own conclusions. Before I send it, I read through the message one more time. Once I hit send, there's no taking it back. Once this information is out there, everyone's life changes forever. I think about Mrs. Patterson's warning, about Richard's advice, about all the people who told me to be careful about revenge. Then I think about coming home to an empty house, about finding those text messages, about sitting in Murphy's bar while Dominic denied everything to a room full of people who believed him. I think about 15 years of marriage destroyed by 3 people who thought I was too stupid to matter. I hit send. Within an hour, my phone is ringing constantly. The Neighborhood Watch app is flooded with comments and reactions. Social media explodes with shares and discussions. By midnight, everyone in town knows the truth about Mara Lane, Dominic Cross, and Susie Cross. The next morning, I wake up to find my front yard full of reporters and my driveway blocked by news vans. Apparently, the story has gone viral. Husband's perfect revenge on cheating wife is trending on 3 different social media platforms. I don't talk to the reporters. I don't need to. The evidence speaks for itself. Instead, I make coffee and watch from my window as Dominic's house across town becomes a circus of media attention. According to the news reports, he's been suspended from his job pending an investigation. Susie has moved in with her sister. Mara has checked into a hotel under an assumed name. My phone rings. It's John. "Derek, what the hell have you done?" I told the truth. "You've destroyed 3 people's lives. They destroyed their own lives. I just made sure everyone knew about it. This is insane. You're all over the news. There are reporters calling my house asking for quotes about you." "What are you telling them?" "I'm telling them that my friend Derek Lane used to be a good man who made bad choices when he got hurt." "Used to be? Derek, look at what you've done. Look at what you've become. I've become someone who doesn't let people walk all over him. You've become someone who destroys people for revenge. That's not the Derek I've known for 20 years. Maybe the Derek you knew for 20 years was a fool. Maybe, but he was a good fool. This new Derek, I don't know who this is." After John hangs up, I sit in my quiet house and think about what he said, about what everyone's been saying. They're right. I'm not the same person I was 2 weeks ago. The old Derek would have tried to work things out, would have gone to counseling, would have found a way to forgive and move on. But the old Derek got cheated on. The old Derek got lied to. The old Derek got played for a fool by 3 people who thought he didn't matter. This new Derek matters. This new Derek gets results. This new Derek doesn't get walked on. The doorbell rings. I look out the window and see Richard standing on my porch, alone. "Richard." "Derek, can I come in?" "Sure." He follows me into the living room and sits in the same chair where Mara sat the night I threw her out. "Hell of a thing you've done," he says. "Yes, it is. You feel better now?" "I feel satisfied." "That's not the same thing." "No, it's not, but it's enough." Richard looks around the room. House feels different. Everything feels different. "Derek, I've known you for 8 years. You're not a cruel person." "I'm not being cruel. I'm being just. Sometimes those are the same thing. Sometimes they need to be." Richard stands up. "I came here to tell you that Nikki and I won't be able to be friends with you anymore. Because of what I did to Mara and Dominic? Because of what you did to yourself." After Richard leaves, I pour myself a drink and sit on my porch. Across the street, Mrs. Patterson is working in her garden. When she sees me, she waves. I wave back. The reporters have moved on to other stories. The social media attention is dying down. In a few days, the town will find something new to gossip about. But Mara, Dominic, and Susie will still be living with the consequences of their choices. And I'll be living with the consequences of mine. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. "You won. Are you happy now?" I don't respond. I don't need to. I sit on my porch as the sun sets, listening to the quiet sounds of a neighborhood settling in for the night. Tomorrow, I'll start figuring out what comes next. Tonight, I'm content to enjoy the silence. The devil they chose was me, and I always collect.